that, and then there's issues there that were never dealt with, and then you just compound it, and all of a sudden certain characteristics come out that weren't there before, obviously because of soul ties. And some soul ties are the physical, and then some don't have to be a physical, intimate one. It can just be from a bad relationship with a friend, whatever. It can come from wherever.
You know, they talk about STDs being like, the sexually transmitted diseases, but a lot of people are calling them sexually transmitted demons. Ooh. Because you get people's personality, you get all type of stuff that you didn't really ask for. I just wrote this. It's not really a poem, but I saw a picture, and it had a picture of this black lady, and it was like her skin was unzipped, and inside of her skin was all these people. And it just talked about all the people that women take into them, and it just made me write this little piece about like all these bodies lying inside of you, all these things that are left behind from every person you've encountered, every person that's been inside of you. They all are leaving traces of themselves in you, and it sticks with you, and you think,
and sticks with
what's wrong with me? Why am I going through this? It's because you are depleted, man.
And I think for me, it's a burden for me, because people continue in that behavior without ever really trying to sit down and figure out what is going on, and it just gets worse, and then their children are affected, and then their children grow up with the exact same mindset and character flaws and the cycle continues.
The same behavior. Yep, it's over and over. It's unfortunate. You gotta be careful who you're dealing with. But the scary thing is not knowing who people are. A lot of people present this upfront person. That's why when I meet people, I never tell them what I like or what I expect, because they conform to that.
Exactly.
You're giving them the playbook.
Exactly.
I just say, well, it just depends on your vibe. I just want you to be a good person, and I just leave it at that and let them figure out what kind of person are you. What kind of person are you?
But some of the problem is, I think, some of the problem is people are not willing to. Okay, I'll say this about you, just in meeting you. You have a certain standard. Most people don't. Most people are not even interested in trying to get to know them. It's a kind of, let's see where this can go, let's get in the bed, and that's it. Because you have a certain standard, you're going to figure it out. But most people don't take the time to try to figure anything out. Men or female or male, don't even matter.
Right.
I meet somebody, they seem nice, but who are they really? Do you really know?
Yeah.
Do you really know?
Do they really know?
Do they?
They don't even know. You talk about this, like getting to know each other, and you trying to figure each other out. It's like a lot of people don't even really know what love is, and a lot of people, they love people from their need for love. So if I ask you, what do you love about Kevin? And most people will say all these things. Oh, he treats me like this, he treats me like that. But they don't love Kevin because of Kevin. They love Kevin because of what Kevin is from them.
Exactly.
And not what Kevin is. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like most people don't understand what unconditional love even is. I can only love you if you're making me feel a certain type of way. That's not love. That's just basically like lust and things like that. But everybody wants these microwavable relationships, I call them. We meet, I like you, you cute, let's jump in bed. In the words of Eartha Kitt, you have plenty. Several men wanted to lay me down, but none wanted to lift me up. So it's like they all want to lay down with you, but they don't really take the time to hear who you are. They don't know what it takes. I told my ex 100 times, don't buy me anything. The most important gift to me is a card, and you take the time and write something to me in it. He bought me every Chanel, every Hermes Birkin bag. He bought me Gucci. He never once bought me a $3 card. And I told him over and over again,
wow.
I like cards. I have a shelf in my house with all the cards that people have given me across the country that mean something to me, because they took the time to wrote something from their heart.
Exactly.
I can go buy my own bag.
Exactly.
But he would rather spend
it was easier to do that than to sit and think about something something that he would want to say to you.
You'd rather spend $2,000 on a bag than get me a $3 card.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like, you're loving me from your need to love me. It makes you feel good as a man to go out here and buy me these expensive bags. But I've told you over and over again,
but see,
I want something small.
That goes back to him not listening, and then it goes back to what he thinks a man is.
Yes.
It's more than just this financial piece.
Right.
It's more than you just provide. It's so many facets to what a man has to do to earn and keep a woman.
Right.
It's not just about money. Oh, I can buy you this and buy you that, because you, even though, okay, thank you for the bag, but this doesn't make me feel valued. This does.
Right.
And for some reason, that connection wasn't there. Even though you said it, he did not get it.
Yeah.
Didn't get it.
And it's heartbreaking walking around looking at our people, our men and our women. We're all dealing with all this trauma in our lives. We've all been subject to some sort of racism, some sort of hardship, some sort of something. We all have trauma. And it's like, we expect these people to say, even in my own case, we expect these people to say, okay, well, I love you. Well, I love you too, and I want to be with you. But most of them aren't even there. So even with me, I had to learn that, okay, with the ex that I was telling you about earlier, I had to learn with him, like, you know, maybe I did expect him to be what he said he was, but at the same time, I need to understand that he wasn't really prepared to be that. And at the end of the day, to this day, I still love him, and I still am his friend, because my love for him was unconditional.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter that he's not able to love me the way I wanted, but I will still love him. But at the end of the day, he doesn't even understand that. He's like, how can you still love me? I'm like, because I wasn't loving you for myself. I was really loving you. Like, I really had unconditional love for you. So even when you give that to people, most people push it away because they don't know what it feels like.
Exactly.
They don't even, they get afraid of it, and they're so used to people using them or something like that. They don't even know. You can show a person love. Most of us have never ever felt it. You know, and when you do feel it, it's an overwhelming feeling. It's an unfamiliar feeling. And most of them feel like it's oh, well, she's chasing me, she's a little too clingy, or, oh, she's being controlling, or something like that. But, you know, that's not the case. We just gotta learn. I say give a little bit of love at a time to everybody, just so people can start to know what that feels like.
Mm-hmm. One thing, Michelle, I'll never forget, one of my big brothers, Pastor Roger Bryan, once said this to me. And I told him, I said, you know, there's a lot of people I've tried to mentor, and I said, then they end up and put the proverbial knife in the back. And I never forgot something he said. He said, Kev, you got to qualify people's hearts. And that's and that's one of the things I've often told women, particularly our African American sisters. You got to qualify that brother's heart. You know, as I often say, and I said this to a girl recently, she was talking about how her boyfriend dogged her, and he's sleeping with all these other girls, and he got all these phone numbers in his phone and didn't want to give her access to his phone. But somehow she got access and saw all these side chicks in the phone. But I said, but see, one, you can't just, you got to qualify people. That's number one. Number two, it's like a diamond. And I said, you don't give diamonds to children, right? They don't understand the value.
Yeah.
So you can't just give yourself to any man. Does he know how valuable you are?
Absolutely.
But
okay.
You know how valuable you are.
Oh.
You know, and I think the other piece is, you know, people have to, I think first people really have to deal with whatever internal issues they need to deal with first before getting into a relationship.
Yes.
Now, obviously, you're never going to be 100% whole. There's always going to be something. But those underlying things, you need to deal with them before you decide to bring somebody else a part of you. And people don't want to do that because of the need for love first. And I understand that when you haven't been loved. But the problem is you're going to invite a false sense of love, which is going to put you right back at square one again. My biggest problem is, you know, similar to what you said, when there was a time I was like, I'm cool by myself. I enjoy myself. I'm married, but still enjoy myself, being by myself. I enjoyed that, and people just didn't seem to understand that. Like, I'm quite content with I like me. I like hanging with me. I love being with my husband too, obviously. But when he's not around, I like me.
Yeah, well, I'm home alone a lot. And a lot of people are always asking me, I mean, you don't want any company? You don't want anybody? I'm like, I'm a grown up.
I got this. I'm okay.
Yeah, I can handle being alone. But, we were talking about this earlier. Most people, they have to have somebody in order to feel whole.
Oh my God. Which is a issue that you need to fix because no one can actually make you whole.
Exactly.
No one can do that.
If you don't love yourself, you're going to constantly be chasing people who don't love you either. No one's going to love you if you don't love yourself.
It starts with knowing that God loves you.
Yes.
It really, really does. And I think when people, and not all people, but I mean, for me, it's really women, because I know what it's like to grow up not living somewhere, living in a household where there's no love there. And then when you get older, because God designed all of us to receive love and give love. So I know what it's like when you don't get it and you're trying to find it and it winds up not being what you thought it was, because the reality is you don't know what it really looks like.
Yeah.
And so I think I know that it starts with knowing how much God loves you and that He wants the best for you. And when you get to know that and then take your time of getting to know the Lord, be with the Lord, all that other stuff does come. It's just a process that nobody wants to go through.
They don't have time.
No, exactly. Exactly.
Everybody's so busy trying to make money. I mean, they're forgetting, once we start appreciating money and stop valuing people, that's
priorities are wrong, and it's really something to it. Really is something to that. Do it my way. He's just saying, hey, do it my way. I know what you want, I know, but do it my way, and you'll get it without all the heartbreak and pain and baby mama and DMs and ghosting and whatever this other stuff is. You'll have that, but it's just the process of doing it His way. No one wants to do that.
Well, I used to write rap music. And I recently stopped writing rap music for several reasons, because I don't want to be a contributing factor to the destruction of the black woman. One thing about it is, when we grow up as children, we grow up with music demeaning us. We grow up with, the regular talk is calling us bees and hoes, and I don't know if I can say that. It's calling us all these names, but then you look at other races of children. They grow up, for instance, white children. They grow up with music like John Mayer. You're beautiful in every single way. Not us. We grow up hearing how F them get money, and that's how we grow up. So then as we get older, it's like, well, I ain't worried about these dudes. These dudes, it's just a constant feeding of negativity into our souls and into our culture. Our whole culture, the whole black culture is ridiculous. Our whole culture surrounds drugs. How many women can you sleep with? How many nice designer things can you get and drive? And how many girls you knock down? It's like, there's no value on the black woman in our culture. And I just want to be someone who contributes to valuing us instead of someone who devalues. Because I love trap music. Yeah. I still listen to it now. It's like I've always loved it, but I just decided I'm not gonna write it anymore. It actually hit me like, I'm a part of the problem.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
And see, part of that too is what you're describing, Michelle, is the subculture. Mm-hmm. It's a subculture in the African American culture that has been developed, and a lot of this is we are adopting that which we have gotten a lot from mass media. And if you look, I always tell people, follow the money trail. Okay, we don't own the record labels.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm talking about the major record labels, the mainstream. I'm not talking these little independent. I'm talking about where the distribution channels and stuff like that. That's not owned by us. It's not owned by people who look like us. And so, but yet they will tell the artist, this is what sells.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay? And guess what? They get the lion's share of the money.
Right.
They give you a little bit of trinkets.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay? See, we think as rap artists, oh, we got this nice pad, $1 million estate, I got my rolls, I got a little private jet. That don't mean nothing compared to many of the corporations that own this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? So they don't want to hear conscious rap music.
Yeah.
They not.
Conscious artists don't make any money.
That's the point.
And actually, the trap and other rap artists, they don't make a lot of money either. Most of those houses they live in are owned by their labels or their managers. Or I've had several friends put out #1 albums, Grammy nominated friends, and I've had to put groceries in their refrigerators. They don't have a dime, half of them, because by the time they drop that album, they owe back so much money for studio time, studio time, food. They feed them weed and alcohol, so they paying for all that. And if they get you a place to live, one of my friends, his label's paying for his housing. He doesn't even get a check. They just pay his bills. And I'm like, as a grown man, you should never accept someone paying your bills.
Exactly.
Ask them for, demand your money.
Exactly. And you
and pay your own bills.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is plantation slavery. That's a different form of it.
It's a different format, just like football. It's a different format. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's repetitive over and over again. But it's the slave format reinventing itself over and over again.
So now let's move this forward. So you described it accurately. So if you look at the image that a lot of this music and film and television shows, what they promote, they don't promote a husband, a wife, commitment, love, the man taking charge of the family, providing the leadership, being faithful to one wife. They're not promoting that kind of stuff. They are promoting, like you said, how many girls you can get in the bed, running a credit card down the backside of a woman, okay, tip drill and all that kind of vile stuff. The clubs, stuff like that. That's what they're promoting. So therefore, is it by accident that you have black females being the most unmarried woman, that you have HIV and Atlanta leads the nation in HIV and AIDS? Okay?
No, I believe it's by design.
All right now.
I do. I believe it's by design. I believe half of what goes on is by design, even down to what stores are in what community, what foods are in what community. There is no incentive to uplift and promote black love and marriage, because one thing about it is black people are physically stronger than other races. We have kids easier. If we weren't destroyed at such a high level, I mean, it's almost like a genocide, but we would be the majority as far as as far as like the population goes. In order to keep white supremacy alive, you have to destroy the black family. You have to destroy black parenting, black people actually doing something, because if not, we're going to take over. We have kids at higher rates than other people. I think it's all by design to keep us from becoming the majority.
But go ahead, Darlene. Go ahead.
I just want to, I agree with that, but then I think the other piece for me is just that but we have to think above that. See, even though I believe a lot of that to be true, and that is happening, we have to think above. We're smarter than that, and we have to stop taking the bait for this little bit of check, and this little bit of fame. We have to see the big picture. Oftentimes we don't. They dangle something in front of us, and we take it because of whatever current situation we have, and we need something right now. But it's all designed to actually keep us in a certain but we have to think above that. You can only do that with the Lord. You can only do that with the Lord. I totally agree that there are different forms of ways to keep us oppressed. Not much has changed. I absolutely agree, but we have to change.
We do.
We have the tools to change, but it's just easier to just be handed something instead of just going out and making something for yourself. It's easier to just say, well, instead of me owning my own record label, let me just work for them and they pay my bills and they do this, as opposed to me using my brain God gave me to make it on my own to do something for myself.
See, because what I do know, Michelle, is okay. So white supremacy. So racism comes out of this white supremacy, right? Mm-hmm. But let's take, where does white supremacy come from? See, that's coming from that's demonology 101. Mm-hmm. Okay? I have some friends, they often will say that the devil doesn't change regardless of time or space. But see, the issue is knowing who the devil is. So here's how it works. So God says, let us create man, and let us create him in our image and after our likeness. God don't create thugs. God don't create, white supremacists.
Racist, he doesn't.
God don't create, men with pants sagging,
right,
dropping seeds all over the place, right, children all over the place, and don't take care of them. Right. God don't promote or create. You just lay up with a bunch of women, have a bunch of babies, and you keep moving. Right. No, see, God created marriage. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. God created relationship. The problem is that men, whether white or, in our case, we talk about the African American man, doesn't know, number one, what a man is. That's number one. A man is not one who just has a penis and goes around inserting his penis in various vaginas and having all these babies that he don't even know about, and if he does, could care less, and don't take care of him. That's not a man. No, a man is one who takes care of that child. A man is one, even before that child come, he'd say to that young lady, you know what? You're going to be my wife. Will you marry me? Right. Okay? That's a man.
Absolutely.
A man is going to work and do whatever it takes to take care of his family, to secure his wife and his children. That's a man. That's what God has put in the man. The problem is that the man is not in touch with that because he don't know God.
Right. Yeah.
So he don't know that he's been made in his image and after his likeness.
Absolutely right.
Okay? He buying what the devil telling you.
Yeah. But we go back to white supremacy and us not believing. One thing is, you discredit people, so everything around us discredits us, right? We talk down to each other. Our language is bad. We discredit. So if I were to go to a black record label, I would be more skeptical than going to a white record label. Not me myself, but the majority. But the thing is, black people are so discredited, which I feel like is why we care so much about what white people think about us. Number one, I don't care. I'm not trying to fit into a white man's world. I mean, I work, but at the end of the day, I'm not trying to fit into the white man's world or anything like that. But I don't disagree with some form of white supremacy, because my opinion is, just like they think they are superior, they think that they are amazing people, why don't we think that of ourselves? Why don't we have black supremacy? Because we should be just as confident in ourselves as they are in themselves. And I can't blame a white person for saying, hey, my family is number one, or me and my people are number one, because I feel like my people are number one. We should have that same exact energy. We should definitely be promoting ourselves, and I don't know where to start with that. I don't know how to get I don't know how to get all the lemons into the cart with this one, because it starts one person at a time, and I personally feel like you start by just sprinkling a little bit of love everywhere. I always talk to people who are a little bit down on their luck or doing bad in life, and I always put pride in their life. Like, I always point out the good things about them. I know plenty of black men who, he lost his job or he doesn't have a job, and I talk to them like, listen, you got other things you can do. keep looking for a job, but you got other stuff that you can do to support your family. You know what I'm saying? And you should don't let this make you feel like less of a man, because there's already all these strikes against you.
Right.
Just pick it up and keep it moving. And I encourage our women too, that when something like that happens to their man or a man, don't belittle him. You know, if you got to get out there and get a job just to help until he gets another one, or if money's short, go help. You know, you guys should be partners. Because even though we want our men to be the head of the household, we want them to do this, we got to get there first. We got to get them in a position to be there first. And that's going to take teamwork. And I will say, I know black women work harder than anyone else. We do. We work harder, but we got to work even harder, because we got kids that's coming up that we got to look after, all type of stuff. My 5-year-old ex-stepson, he is already ready to start painting his own footballs and getting them into Whole Foods. He wants to do hair. He already knows what he wants to do, and he goes out every day and he opens the doors for ladies, and he's convinced that he's a man.
And that's kind of where it starts. That's a great place to start when the kids are little. But the problem is, you know, unfortunately, we still have so many parents or people that have children but are not parents who can't give that to their children. So the cycle just keeps going. It just keeps going. It starts with the Lord, and then and secondly, it starts at home.
Yeah.
You know, but the broken home, you know, if your home is broken, it's going to be difficult to, you know, try to teach your kids anything. Like, I came from a broken home, so the things that I learned, let me put it like this. Unfortunately for our race, a lot of times, we're already behind the 8 ball. We're just behind. We're just born behind.
Absolutely.
You know, unfortunately, we're just born behind. But it doesn't mean that God still hasn't given us the tools to get ahead. The problem is that we don't even grasp those tools. You know, we just conform.
Yeah,
just conform.
It's easier to do that than to stand out, because now you got to worry about some things. Because number one, we don't own anything. Just like me, I still got to go to work. You know, it's certain things.
Exactly.
But the thing is, a lot of us are afraid of losing that. So I'm not going to stand up for my people today, because I work at the post office, and if they see me doing this, they're going to fire me. But the thing, we don't have the resources available to support each other, and we need those resources. I don't know how to get there. I had this idea a few years ago to do a black pool. Basically, each person put in $1 a month, $1 a month across the country, and we can support the people that we need to pull up. You know, I remember back when I was in college, and this will tell you, like right now, I look like the successful black woman. It wasn't like that. When I was in college, I helped a friend of mine who needed a place to stay, let her move in with me, and she had her drug dealer boyfriend over at my house while I was at work. So I come into the house, and next thing I know, U.S. Marshals kick in my door. I get evicted. I had nowhere to go. And in the high rise I live in now, I can see the bridge that I slept under. And it's interesting, because I ended up meeting people there that I still minister in their life. Because I was at their level then, but that was a very short period of my life. And I have 19 godchildren from from me being in that situation, because they weren't good parents. You know, I was in that situation for about 3 months out of my whole life, but at the same time, I knew, okay, I'm going to pull these people up with me. You know, I'm going to pull these, and all those kids, I put things in their heads, because I know for a fact, if they only have their parents, they're going to be set up for failure, because they don't have parents that can really give them what it is that they need. Their parents are out here in the streets. They're not doing anything. I mean, one of them, she does any and everything in front of her kids, and I take her kids out of that situation, and I just bring them to my house. Because you want to, it's not just that parent's responsibility, it's all of our responsibility. If you want to live in a world where we are succeeding, you have to notice things where there's help needed, and you have to insert yourself, even if it's unwanted. You have to, if you want things to get better. I just think one thing at a time, one person at a time, eventually we'll touch enough people, hopefully.
But see, Michelle, what you're talking about is there's been a lot of irreparable harm harm
Irreparable.
that has been done to our community, our people within this community. I was just talking with a young lady who I had picked up not too long ago, and she was stranded. Similar to what you said. Her boyfriend that she's been with for a number of years just got arrested. And he's a drug dealer. Come to find out, he has pulled knives out on her in the past. She's still with him though. And that night, he's drinking, smoking blunts, and driving erratic. And and this is in Decatur. So of course the cops, they're on the outlook, especially at night. And sure enough, the cops pull him over, rolls the window down, asks for the ID, and as soon as you roll the window down, you're gonna smell that weed.
Yeah.
So automatic. Then they're gonna run his plates. They're gonna look at his driver's license, and he probably had bench warrants. I don't know. But the point was, he got arrested.
Right.
She's like, well, I need to get where I'm going. Cops said, well, that ain't our problem. You need maybe he can make a call for you. He refused to give her the cell phone to make a call. Come to find out, the reason he refused it because he had all these girls in his cell phone. So in fact, she told me while they was driving over to his place so they could get together that night, he had stopped in a convenience store and made a call to one of the side chicks. Ain't that deep? So for all of which she went through, now she's stranded and has to get an Uber. Crazy.
Yeah.
But here's what's funny. I said to that young lady, I said, well, why don't you just, you deserve better. Why are you with him? This is a man that's pulled a knife out on you. You could be dead. And, you know, she really didn't have an answer, Michelle. So what that says is, what I was picking up, she has damage in her own background.
Yeah.
See, I would never forget something that a young lady said on one of our panel discussions years ago. She talked about all the different relationships that she had. She had like 4 or 5 children. But she said it wasn't because I just wanted to just have sex. There was damage to me as a young girl. I was violated as a young girl. So when I'm with these different guys, it's not because I just want to have sex. A lot of times I want somebody to love me. I want to feel attached. I want to feel valued. And here comes Joe Blow, the first person to say, oh, you know, I can make you feel good. Okay? So in other words, her point was these people that are doing this stuff, or women that are allowing themselves to be used, it's because of the damage that's resulted in their own life. Okay? And see, here's another thing. We can't just lay everything at the foot of white supremacy. Because the reality is that brother that I just described had a choice. You don't got to drive around smoking blunts, or you don't got to have all that alcohol in your car. So that when the cops pull you over, they don't smell no weed. I've been pulled over. They don't smell no weed on me. They don't see not one liquor bottle in my car. I have my license, it's valid, my registration, my titles, everything. See? So what happens is you take that stick out of their hand.
Absolutely.
Okay? You know? So we can't lay everything at the foot of white men because we have a role to play in this. See, it wasn't a white man that said you need to go smoke that blunt. He chose that. It wasn't a white man that said pull that knife out and try to stab your black girlfriend. And the white man and then the white man told him to do that. He did it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And I was just having this conversation. I told someone, I said, you know, it's not white men that I'm afraid of. I've never had to protect myself from a white man. You know, when I've been you know, when you are out and guys try to talk to you and you turn them down, and I've been assaulted by black men. Hey cutie, and you're like, no, I'm good, and then you get called every name in the world, you get pushed and shoved. A lot of times girls have resorted to just giving out a fake number or giving them their real number and blocking them later just to avoid being attacked.
Exactly.
I was just at Lenox Mall and I walked into the mall to get my nails done, and when I came out, some black guys had broken my windows. It wasn't a white man. There has to be personal accountability in our own community. You know, we definitely have to, because if we say, oh well, I can't do anything because the white person, you know, I'm black. It's it's like, well, what are you gonna do about that? You know, it's time out for that stuff. Like, we have to get in motion, otherwise we're gonna be wiped out. I mean, it's a genocide. I mean, not only are cops killing black people are killing black people. Disease is killing black people from the choices we make regarding our diets and our food, our overconsumption of alcohol. Because it's so much trauma out here. People don't even realize that those uncles and cousins that they make fun of and think are so cool because this person drinks and smokes all the time, those people have a lot of mental illness. They have addiction. They have trauma, and we are celebrating that. We're celebrating trauma, and you know, you end up bleeding on people who didn't cut you when you don't deal with your issues. One thing about it is, being violated as a female, you do tend to become promiscuous and hoping that, okay, well, somebody's going to love me. I'm glad that didn't happen to me, but as far as me reaching out trying to get love, but that's just because I learned at an early age to love myself. But at the same time, it happens to just about every other female I know that's been violated, and there aren't many females in this country that have not been violated. I don't know if you saw, Kevin, but I posted a few months ago, and I asked the question, ladies, what was the age when you first noticed that you were being looked at sexually? I asked the question because the age is normally somewhere between 7 years old and 12 years old. And almost every single person answered just like I thought, 7 years old up to about 14. And I asked this was months ago. And I even remember as a child being 10 years old when R. Kelly married Aaliyah. And finding out about this sex tape, and it was going around the country, and I don't know if you guys remember that, but everybody was making jokes about peeing on you. If you remember that back then, it was a running joke in the country. So now that this thing has resurfaced, everybody's acting like, oh, they didn't know, and everybody knows it. Charlamagne the God said, if you want to get away with murder, kill a rapper, and if you want to get away with sexual assault, rape a young black girl. Everybody blew up and got so mad about that, but it's true. You know, the first thing that happens when you say, okay, I've been sexually assaulted is, oh, well, it had to be for money, or she liked it. There's a video recently of this girl going to the gas station to get gas, and a mob of guys surrounded her, started touching at her and grabbing at her, and she kind of laughed it off and went around them, and people were like, she liked that. And my whole thing was, I think she laughed so she wouldn't get attacked.
Exactly. You know, she had to find a way to cope in that moment. She had to figure out what to do, and she had reacted in a different way. It could have gone completely. And our guys have to learn that whether you are our father, our husband, our daddy, you don't have to be any relation to me to protect me. I was grabbed on a busy street when I was maybe 19 years old. Black guys all around, and these guys pushed me into a car in East Point. And not one person tried to help me. I ended up jumping out of that car on 75, 85, and I still have scars from that now. But what amazed me was they did this in broad daylight. There were men around. There was traffic going back and forth. People, I had on a bright orange jumpsuit, and people literally just minded their business. But it's all of our responsibility to protect each other. And as men, it's your responsibility to make sure that we, as your women, are not violated. And I just feel like if we don't advance each other, we're not going to get anywhere.
And see, that goes back to knowing, for men, who are you? What is a man? See, that's the biggest thing. And you know what's funny? Yes, it is true that many women have been violated, particularly our young black sisters. And guess what? Men been violated too.
Yes.
And also, if they haven't been violated, they have been little boys watching men violate women.
Exactly.
You said it.
Okay?
You're absolutely
And then they think this is the behavior to model.
Right.
That's why I always say it all goes back, and I so agree with my wife, it all goes back to God. Because if you don't know God, then you don't know who God has purposed on the inside of you. In the last forum, we talked about destiny and purpose. And we talked about how key that is in relationships. People, they want to go, oh, he cute, oh, she banging, whatever. Oh, the chemistry is good. When I'm with them, man, I'm feeling blah, 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 blah. But that person may not be the person that God has designed and purposed for your life. You can go on and get with them, and then what's going to happen is you're going to find that person has nothing to do with your destiny and don't care about it. But going back to this damage is severe, because what happens is all we do is we go on and we damage other people.
It just keeps going.
So hurt people hurt other people. And so many of these brothers don't know what it is to be a man, because first off, as boys, they have watched dysfunction, they have watched violence, they have seen sexual stuff and pornography. So now that has been steeped in their DNA and their psyche.
Yes.
So when they see a woman, all they see is an extension of breast, behind, and how I can violate it.
Yes.
They ain't hardly into her mind, her purpose, her goals, her aspirations. They don't even know how to talk like that.
They don't care about that, because
there you go.
That's not the incentive. The incentive is to get you into bed, and if you won't get into bed, there's someone else that will, who won't talk me to death about what they feel.
Exactly.
You got it. You got it. You absolutely got that right.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to fix that, because at the end of the day, we all want someone. I want a family one day. I want this, but I am not going to settle. I'm not going to.
And I think that's one way to start.
Yes.
To already have a mindset of, I'm not settling. Like before I met my husband, had break up with someone, and at that point I knew then, I said, this, no more. I cannot keep taking myself through pain and dating, and it don't work out, and dating. I was like, I had a child at the time, so I said, I'm not taking myself through that, or my son. And I knew, God, you had something better for me than this. So it was at that point where I was like, I'm just going to be by myself, and I'm good by myself.
Yes.
And it was in that time of God healing me from different things that I experienced and learning who I was. I was in my 20s, so I didn't really know yet who I really was. But learning who I was is when God then sent my husband to me. But that, again, was a process.
But had he come to you earlier, you wouldn't have
been ready. Absolutely. Which is kind of the whole point of why you have to wait, because it's the timing of it. But the thing is, I'm grateful for the experiences I've had, the negative ones, because they shaped me. Mm-hmm. But because of the trauma I had to go through because of it, I still don't want somebody else to have to go through the same thing. So if you can avoid that by just waiting for God to send someone to you, is just much easier like that. You just bypass a whole bunch of mess that you don't have, a whole bunch of healing that you don't have to go through because you hooked up with this person, hooked up with that person.
Yes. I hear a lot of guys saying that they don't want all these broken women, and they don't want all these women who are hurt. But my thing is, you guys are out here breaking women.
You're the one, right?
And women are also allowing it, because, as you said, we are not qualifying people's hearts.
That's right.
And the thing is, they don't want a broken woman, but you're breaking women. So at the end of the day, everybody's going to be a little broken. I remember in this one situation, and a recent situation, I met this great guy. And because of all the things I've gone through with being in a relationship, thinking, okay, well, we're going to get married, and then it doesn't work out, I was very skeptical. So with him, he works overseas. He's between Sudan, Algeria, and Nigeria all the time with the oil business. And this man, I was having a bad day one day, and he flew home. And I was like, what's the catch? And I realized
exactly
after about the first month, because we're still getting to know each other now, but after about the first month, he had a conversation with me, and he said, listen, stop doubting me. And I'm like, yes, sir. The thing is, I don't know anything else. I don't know anything else other than to wait for the catch. Like, I know at some point this rug is going to be pulled from underneath my feet. It's almost like being being afraid to be happy
Exactly.
because you're like, okay, the moment I get happy, it's gonna end. You know, and it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it's something that I'm working through. And as I told him, let me get my heart back together because I don't want you to have to pay for other stuff. I don't want to bleed on you because you did not cut me, basically.
And this is where it's about healing.
Right.
And see, what we do is we look for outside external sources to heal us.
Right.
Yes.
Money,
Right.
working all the time,
Right.
education. All those things are good, by the way.
are.
Okay? We trying to find a girl to make me feel good. I'm trying to find a man to make me feel good. I'm trying to do this to make me feel good. Let me get a Gucci bag to make me. But all those things are empty.
Yeah, they're empty.
And see, only God can fill in and heal those broken pieces. Okay, but people, I don't want to talk about that. You know, I can do it. Okay, but that's why you jacked up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why everything keeps going wrong over and over again. You know, one of the best things in the world to me is taking a walk in nature. It's just to go outside, take a walk, be at peace early in the morning when there's not too many people out moving around, because I don't like it. You hear things as people are walking by you. People are saying things to you, and you take all that stuff in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I'm just out early in the morning by myself, I have the most time to actually free my head and think and put something good into the universe. You know, I like talking to homeless people. I like walking down the street just randomly talking to homeless people and asking them, hey, how did you get to this place? You know, hey, what happened to you? Because it's happened to me before. And I'm here to tell you, you can be living in your high rise today and living up under it tomorrow. So, always stay humble.
Always stay humble.
And money doesn't make you better than anyone else. And you know, the person that's meant for you or the people that's meant for you, you won't realize that if you're not being yourself. And most people are not being themselves. They're being this stereotype version of what they think they are supposed to be. I'm a black nerd, you know, but I'm also very conscious. And I remember growing up, my whole family would call me Sister Soldier. You know what I'm saying? But I also like very fine cuisine. I'm always like the only black in the restaurant and stuff like that. So it's like it's hard for me to meet somebody who understands me, but I understand me and I like me, you know. And back in the day when I did not like me so much because I was so busy listening to other people, I was more accepting of the wrong type of people in my life.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff happened to you when you
do that.
accept the wrong type of people in your life. You are left depleted. You're left with nothing. And 9 times out of 10, they leave better. They leave you better, and they take all the goodness that you had in you with them right out your door, and you sitting there trying to rebuild it. You know, so we just got to be careful, and we got to be better to each other.
I agree. And you know, and this is why I believe and I know this is the truth. Because you know what, Michelle? See, I've lived on both sides of the track.
Yeah.
That's why I know what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah. Amen.
I know in trying to do it my way, trying to be, you know, what I would consider a good guy and being good to people and being good to women, and you know, and I'm a nice guy. I pay my taxes. I do this. I help the people who can't help themselves. But still, my heart was dirty.
Yeah.
Okay? There's no amount of whatever good that I could do to really change who I was on the inside. You know, we talked about DNA. There's a lot of corrupted DNA.
Absolutely right.
Okay? And I wasn't the quote unquote, you know, the evil, whatever. But it doesn't matter. It wasn't until I got in relationship with God and I began to see what it means to live a clean life, to live a life of commitment, to live a life of purpose. I learned how to treat a woman when I came to God.
Yes.
Okay? I learned how to be faithful to one woman, not a woman and several side chicks, not a woman and this girl who just passed me her number.
Amen.
I mean, I can tell you, Michelle, women coming up to me, giving me their numbers once I got my life together. I'm like, what? And I would just say, nah, I can't take this. Okay? All right? Because why? I became a new man.
Yes.
And see, old things then got to pass away. If you're going to really be the true man, that God has created in what? His image and after his likeness. See, that's real. See, I know it's real because of what I've had to walk through and what I'm continuing to walk through.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what it's about. See, it's about, regardless of how my wife may get on my nerves, and I know I get on her nerves, that doesn't mean that, okay, I go to the club and release my frustration,
Right.
Because I know it's full of females, and let me get with one of these chicks, and then I can release my frustration. No, I got to release that to God. Oh,
Yes.
God, you got to help me, okay?
Yes.
But see, a lot of men don't want to hear that.
No.
Oh, they don't think that's real. Oh, it's real.
Yes.
Because see, at the end of the day, I can come home and sleep peacefully. I don't got to come home and feel guilt. I don't got to come home and know, oh, he playing the field. He's being this way here, but
Right.
when the wife ain't looking, he doing something else.
Right.
See, I am who I am, 24/7.
All the time.
You know what I mean? And see, therein, now we're talking transformation.
Oh yeah.
That's what's needed.
Absolutely.
See?
I tell you one thing about me that's not so pretty. I used to be very good at fooling people. Everybody had this perception of me. I was just this really good person. Oh, she's so good-hearted. But to be honest with you, I was manipulating everybody around me.
All right.
I'm on the intelligent side, and I purposely chose people less intelligent than me to surround myself with because I could control them and I could manipulate their every move. And then I realized I'm choosing my relationships like that too, but manipulated them so much now it's like I don't even know who I am.
Exactly.
I don't even know. They don't even know who I am really. All they know is that what I wanted them to know and what I wanted them to think. And it took me a while to get out of that pattern because it was so easy for me to get with people a little less intelligent and, hey, this is what you're supposed to do, and this is what I want you to do, and but now it's like I'm older, I'm mature, I'm a little more mature, and I want somebody on my level. I want to converse with people on my level. I don't want to dumb myself down anymore. I don't have a need to control other people because it was feeding my ego. And it was helping me with all the things that I was insecure about and all the things I hated about myself. They were just feeding me and lapping me up with all these compliments and great things. Oh, I'm such a good person because I take them out to dinner or I buy them nice things. When in reality, I was a horrible person because I was purposely manipulating those people. Purposely. And a lot of people think they are good people because, oh, I bought you a house or I bought you something nice. No, you're not a good person just because you're doing that.
Right.
A lot of people have reasons behind that kind of stuff that they're doing. And I always tell young women, be careful of a person who's constantly trying to spend money on you because a lot of times they're just trying to get you in a position where you owe me something. A position where now I've bought you so much stuff, I can get you to do whatever I want you to do. And I don't need to do that anymore. Now anything that I do it out the kindness of my heart, and I definitely believe in uplifting people for the benefit of themselves instead of the benefit of me. So yeah, I think that's a big part of growth, and we just got to learn that's where you talk about transformation. That's a big part of my transformation is being a better person, like actually having real relationships with people, because really when I was looking around, everybody that knew me knew the representative that I was showing them. Not one of them knew me.
There you go.
I didn't even know me.
And see, right there is the key. It's us being naked and unashamed and allowing God to heal those broken pieces so that when God does bring that mate, providing we allow him to bring the mate to us, we can then be connected to the person that is purposed for our destiny. Now you've got two people, still imperfect, but they're going to grow together. They're going to die to one another. They're not going to just buy you stuff because they're trying to control you, but they buying you stuff because they love you.
Yes.
Okay? And when they can't, you buy them something because why? You love them.
Exactly.
Okay? Now, that's God's best. Okay, that's God's best. Now y'all committed in a committed relationship. Now you pull out that ring and can you be my wife? Okay, now y'all get married. Now y'all have a family with a husband and a wife, a mother and a father tied in holy matrimony. That's God's best. See? But there has to be healing, and we have to acknowledge those broken pieces, those dirty pieces in our lives, and allow Him to clean us up and heal us. Now, we get people like that, and we go one person by person, community by community. Guess what happens?
One by one.
When we're made in His image and after His likeness, oh yeah, that's like I think it was Philippians says, oh yeah, we can do all things through Him that strengthens us.
Christ, amen.
Through Christ who strengthens us. So white supremacy, well, that just gets blown right out the water.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you know why? Because I'm going to look at it and say, well, wait a minute, hold up. I'm a joint heir. So if I'm a joint heir with the king,
what? God is greater than white supremacy.
All right.
I think this is the whole point. Like, I would like to, I know that we live in a world that's full of, I know, and I don't necessarily try to use religion. I'm not religious anyway.
Right.
As a way to say, well, God this and God that. But He is the answer to that. He's greater than that. He's greater than your pain. He's greater than your problems. He's greater than white supremacy. He's greater than all that. But we have to know that and to be willing to walk that out. And the main problem is a lot of people are not.
No.
They're not.
We're not willing to get out of our comfort zones. Because we're so afraid that, okay, this little bit of change or this little bit of benefit over here that I have, if I get out of this comfort zone, I'm not going to have that. Right. And so a lot of us miss out on greater because we over here settling for this little piece of what we got. So we're missing out on our greatness. We got to get out of our own way. I said it earlier. I don't care what white people think about me. I know that I am who I am. I know the things that I do. I don't care what most people think about me.
That's right.
At the end of the day, I'm going to do my work. I'm going to keep doing my work. I'm going to push other people to do their work. And those people aren't going to like you because you're pushing them out of their comfort zone. We were over in the Bluffs not too long ago at a friend of mine's house. He owns a few rental properties over there. So he's over there gutting them out and cleaning them. And we're just talking, and I'm looking at all the people walking around the park, and they're just throwing trash on the ground and, cussing and fussing. You can see the guys over here smoking weed. These people over here drinking. I mean, so drunk, a guy was passed out on the sidewalk. And you got kids in this community. And I asked him, I said, our kids shouldn't have to live in places in squalor. Who wants to walk out of their door and live in a garbage can? People who have no pride. People who have no belief in their self, who don't think that they deserve any better. Because you can live in a dump, but clean it up.
There you go.
It doesn't have.
I always say that.
It does not have to be that. But
and that's an internal thing.
They're living in what they believe they are. If you believe you are trash, you will surround yourself with trash, whether it be mentally or actually trash, real trash. It's who you think you are. If you think you are a king, you will surround yourself with other people who are kingly. If you believe that you are nothing, you're going to be laid out here on the sidewalk in the Bluffs drunk at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, laying on a pile of chip bags and weed wrappers and everything else right there in front of children who are watching you. And they're going to grow up to think this is okay. And they're going to have low self-esteem. So my thing is, I don't care whose kid it is. I always instill in them, hey man, you can. There's a big world out here. There are things you can do outside of this, and if their parents let me, I take them on. I'll have no problem with it.
And this ties right into relationship. Water seeks its own level. All right, women, if you want to be treated like a queen, then you need to make sure that you attract a king.
Yes.
Same thing, vice versa with the men.
Absolutely.
Because because otherwise, water does seek its level, and you're going to seek the common denominator.
That's right.
So you're going to seek the brother in the hood smoking the blunt, like you said, in that community, laying down, passed out, drunk, because you feel that's all I'm worth.
That's what I deserve.
Yeah. There you go.
I don't deserve anything better. And like I said, I was choosing people less intelligent than me at some point, even in my relationships, because I in some way did not feel whole. I did not feel like, number one, at the time I was a heavy drinker. So I knew that as a heavy drinker, I'm not going to keep a man that's of a certain stature. So here I am, I'm going to get this person because guess what? He's a heavy drinker too, and he don't see nothing wrong with it. I know something wrong with it, but he don't see nothing wrong with it, so I'm going to get him for a while. You know, and at the end of the day, I did nothing but end up playing myself, you know, and setting myself back, and also hurting people. You know, so we all just have to treat ourselves. It starts with ourselves, though. You treat yourself better, everything else follows. Right. What you believe in is what happens.
So you gotta feel that you are worth it.
Yes.
You gotta feel good about you.
Before all else, and that comes from your relationship with yourself and your God. And if you feel good about yourself, no one else can come into your life. I always say, if you come into my life and you are taking away from my happiness, or you are a burden on me, I don't need you in my life. I need you to come into my life to be a partner to me, or to add to what I already have. I don't want that other stuff. But before, I was purposely choosing people to take away from me because I didn't feel like I had anything inside.
That's what a lot of people do.
Yeah, I have a homegirl right now. I'll never not be her friend, but I don't hang around her because we're not on the same level. But she was a person that helped me when I was in a bad situation. But she's perfectly happy doing what she do.
Yes,
she don't work. She got a heck of kids. She don't do nothing with her life. It's multiple men in and out every single day. And I'm just like, are you happy with this? And she was just like, girl, yeah, I'm turned up. Okay. But what I do is I don't judge her. I don't talk down to her. But what I do tell her are little things about herself that are great, so that eventually she'll start feeling better. And she called me 2 weeks ago, and she said, you know, I stopped dealing with all those guys, and you know, I'm actually just gonna focus on myself. I ain't never heard this girl say this in the 20 years I've known her. So little by little, the little chips that you instill in people, they do work. You know, all my god kids, when they leave my house, they go home screaming they a revolutionary or they a black king or queen. And the moms and dads always like, you can't send these kids home militant because they gonna go to school like that. I'm like, no, well, don't send them to me then, because they gonna leave my house knowing who they are. You know, so we do that. We talk about things. All the girls know who they are as women, and I love empowering children because you get them early, and you get them to believing in themselves as children. When they grow up, nobody can take their belief in themselves away from them.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true, and that's where it starts at. That's where it starts at. So, darling, you have anything you want to say?
No.
No, this has been a great. This has been a great discussion, ladies. I so thank you to my beautiful wife. Thank you to Michelle. I thank you so much for being a part of this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and we're going to do this again.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.